Howdy, Thunder Junction Spoilers continue and have introduced us to this divisive little chap, Loot, the key to everything, who reads: Ward 1, and at the beginning of your upkeep, exile the top X cards of your library, where X is the number of card types among other non-land permanents you control. You may play those cards this turn. And so everybody rushed to their deck building site of choice to fill their Loot, the key to everything deck with battles and planeswalkers and creatures and artifacts and enchantments and tribal cards, as many as humanly possible, so they get that hallowed upkeep moment of 6 cards to look at in their impulse draw. But I'm going to show you in my Go Wide, Go Tall, Go Value deck that it's far more important to get that impulse value train running early in the game than seeing a ton of cards later in the game when it's too late to actually take advantage of them. I've prioritised 2 dual card types in my build, 23 enchantment creatures and 5 artifact creatures, giving us 28 options to achieve 3 impulse draws with Loot in play. 15 of these are between 1 and 3 mana value to cast. This means in conjunction with the deck's ramp and mana, which are also artifacts and enchantments, as this is an all-permanent deck to guarantee Loot sees as many of them as possible, we get the impulse ball rolling as early as turn 3. Seeing at least 2 extra cards early on alongside our draw means we start seeing the 3rd permanent type in exile to push us to 3 impulse draws plus 1 normal draw. That's 4 cards a turn, and that's massive value, but that value only counts in the early stages. Other decks will run away with the game if our impulse draw starts rolling mid-game onwards. So trying to force in other card types, in our case that would be battles and planeswalkers, would just water down the deck, make it less cohesive, and it would be all value and no way to close out the game. I've lent towards enchantment creatures as their dual card type offers us many avenues to progress and win the game. They bestow upon us, well, bestow, which gives Loot or other creatures evasion or a stats boost. When attached, they're enchantment auras, and when the creature it's attached to leaves play, they return to being an enchantment creature again. The legendary Pantheon of Theros enchantment creature gods gives us more power and toughness boosts, graveyard hate, ramp and removal. Finding ways to achieve effects we rely on sorceries and instants for is one of the fun deck building opportunities afforded to us by Loot. We get around that further by using channel creatures we can discard from our hand while paying for an effect. For recursion, tempo plays, finding lands, these enchantment creatures have us covered. We also play the 3 archetype creatures available in Teamer colours, which continue to support this through line of evasion and protection when our board goes wide or tall. The artifact creatures we run are 4 with Reconfigure, moving back and forth between giving us 2 card types and supporting the win with Double Strike, Protection, and Card Advantage, and K9. A 1-drop with 2 card types is OP in this build and protects our Beast Noble commander. And with Altar of the Goyf and Eldrazi Conscription, both of which have the tribal card type, now known as Kindred, and both of which support the Go Tall Voltron Wincom, the ceiling on card types Luke cares about in this deck is 4, which is more than enough impulse draw per turn. Before I show you the 11 impulse draw payoffs we have in the deck that make it snowball out of control, here are some standout enchantments and artifacts. Song of Creation lets us play additional lands and draw a boatload of cards and is mirroring what's happening in Exile. Play the huge number of cards we get access to now, or lose them, but between it and Loot, we can see around 8 to 10 extra cards a turn. Paradox Haze doubles the impulse draw. We are really leaning into the everything part of Loot's card name. Many boots for Loot are included to safeguard our main way of seeing cards, and non-instant and sorcery removal comes courtesy of Propaganda and Ensnaring Bridge to keep back opposing hordes, and the bridge works well with Song of Creation. Enchantment Aura removal pieces Lignify and Imprisoned in the Moon deal with opposing commanders, and Perplexing Chimera and Arasta of the Endless Web ask opponents to carefully think about what they cast and when. Our impulse payoffs help Loot to shine, cast a spell or play a land from Loot, Profferings and Faldorn and the Lost and the Damned, reward us with wolves and spawns for our trouble to swamp the board, or Passionate Archaeologist and Keeper of Secrets deal damage equal to that spell's mana value to an opponent's face. Mizzix, now Feshni in the 12th Docks, copy those spells, while Laelia, which feels a little like a secret commander, can grow by 3 to 4 power every single turn, and that's not taking into account her own attack trigger. Other standouts include Doc Orlok, Sage of the Beyond and Val, Counterkeep Researcher, that make paying for exiled spells a breeze, and paying very little for a lot of cards triggering a lot of effects is the real treasure at the heart of this Value Town deck. Loot is a monster, and don't let that squidgy little face tell you otherwise. If you like decks packed with synergy and insane things happening during your 10 upkeeps in one turn, you'll definitely enjoy Obeka Splitter of Seconds. Link is in the description. Loot will be going up against Obeka and 2 other legends from Thunder Junction in a future live stream on MTG Specs. Comment below who the other 2 should be. This set is jammed with excellent options, and I am quite overwhelmed. If you've enjoyed this humble free content today, a like and subscribe would mean the world to me. I'm off to meet Gisa in the town cemetery. She says she's got donuts and that I should bring my own shovel. That sounds fine. Until then, I have been Lee and this has been MTG Specs.